Alright, in this tutorial I'm going to very quickly move through and show you how to create an interface and how to implement an interface. So before I get started, an interface is a contract that you have to obey. So basically it lays out a set of methods and properties that you have to implement. And this is really useful when you look at polymorphism or looking at objects as if they were different things within a hierarchical tree. So where you have something implementing an interface or a class that inherits from another class, you can view any of those classes as something elsewhere within that hierarchy. The example I'm going to look at here is I'm going to do a vehicle class. So the very first thing actually I'm going to do is I'm going to create the entry to the program. So public class app, and then my main method, public static void main in lowercase string array, and call it args. Okay, let's save that. App.java. Let's create another couple of files here. Let's have a vehicle class. Sorry, not a vehicle class, a vehicle interface. Again, vehicle.java, same as everything else. And let's create the last one. Let's implement a car. So the way this is going to work is the car is going to implement the vehicle interface. So I could have a car implementing the vehicle, I could have a truck, a motorcycle, whatever else. But it means that I could look at a car, a truck, a motorcycle as if it was a vehicle. So let's have a look. So the vehicle. The main difference between declaring a class and interface is instead of calling it a class, you call it an interface. So public interface vehicle. And for the methods, you don't provide any implementation. So an interface has absolutely and cannot have any implementation in it. It literally is just a contract of what you have to implement in anything that implements the interface. So here I'm going to have also you don't have to say public, because all of these in an interface have to be public. So we're going to have a void move. See, no implementation detail. And also let's think what we want. Let's have some fuel. So let's get the fuel, and that's going to return us a double. And in addition to that, we're going to refuel. Now actually, when I'm refueling, I want to give it the amount of fuel that I'm passing in. So let's have a double and fuel quantity. Okay, quantity. So we're going to have it be able to move. We want to be able to get the level of fuel from the vehicle, and we want to be able to refuel the vehicle. Let's save that. So that's my interface. Here we're going to have a class called car. Notice that we say class, not interface. But there's an extra step. And what we need to do is we need to say that this car is implementing this interface. So after the car, but before the curly braces, implements vehicle. So this car implements the vehicle interface. Because it does that, we're going to have to implement all of this stuff. So I'm just going to copy it, make it nice and easy, and paste it in. Now we can't have the semicolons because we need to actually implement. So I'm going to change these for the curly braces. I'm not going to implement this, but let's pretend that I did. And that we're able to move around as much as we need to. In actual fact, if you were doing something, you'd probably pass in some sort of canvas that you'd then move yourself around on. Okay, so get fuel. Well, in actual fact, we need to put in some detail here. So we actually need to hold the fuel. Now this wasn't mentioned at all in the vehicle interface, but then it doesn't care. This is all about encapsulation. It doesn't care what happens inside. It just cares about how you interact with it. So there we go. Private double fuel. Tell you what, let's set that to 0. I could set up a constructor and do various bits and pieces there, but I'm not going to bother for the purpose of this example. Get fuel. Let's just return this.fuel. Remember the this keyword says we're returning the fuel scope to the class. I tend to do that all the time, regardless of whether it's strictly necessary or not, because it makes it much easier to see the scope of the variable. You may find that you have to follow certain coding conventions, obviously follow whatever the company you're working for does. Double refuel. Okay, so we want to take some fuel, which we're getting here, and we want to refuel this. So let's go this.fuel equals, not equals, let's add it to whatever is in the tank. So plus equals fuel quantity. Problem is, what happens if I put too much fuel on the tank? Okay, let's have a look. If this.fuel is greater than 100, so let's treat that as being maximum amount that you can hold. Let's create another variable called overflow. And in fact, we're going to return that variable. So at the moment it's returning 0. So if the fuel is greater than 100, overflow is going to be equal to this.fuel minus 100, which gives us the amount that's over the top, and then actually set this.fuel equal to 100. Okay, will that work? Adding the fuel, set the amount you've been given to add on to whatever was already in the tank. If the tank is overfilled, set the overfill value to be whatever's in there less the maximum, and then return the amount that. Okay, looks good at the moment. So we've implemented all of these. That's all fine, brilliant. Let's have a look now. Let's actually use the car. So let's instantiate it. Car equals new car. Empty constructor, which I haven't defined, but is created automatically for me. Now I want to fuel it. So in fact, what I could do first of all is I could car dot, what's it called? Refuel. And let's refuel it with 25.6. And now let's have a look at what we've got. Just print line, and then car.getFuel. In fact, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get the, if you remember, when you refuel, we've got a return type of double, so we're actually getting the overflow back. So here, I'm going to have a double called overflow. Always a good idea to initialize that value. Overflow equals car.refuel. System out. Okay, so print the fuel. And then let it know what the overflow is. And let's copy this a few times. So we've got 25.6, 78.2. No, let's not be naughty, not too naughty at this stage. And then 15.4. Right, let's go and have a look at building that. So let's have a look what we've got. We've got the 3 classes there. So let's build or compile the, actually I don't need that, the app file. Ooh, we got some errors. Refuel double in car, cannot implement refuel double in vehicle. Let's go have a look at our classes. So, we've got refuel, car, double refuel, fuel quantity. Naughty, naughty. I've forgotten to put in the access modifiers. Let's try again now that they are actually public, as they should be. Hey, we got a build. Okay, so obviously watch out for that. Make sure you are putting the access modifiers on in the class that implements them. So we've got a build. Let's try and run it. Okay, so what's happening here is what we'd expect. Putting 25.6 in, there's no overflow. It started with 0. We've now hit 97.69 recurring. Looks like there's some rounding errors there that could be handled better within the implementation. But again, no overflow. And then the last amount we're putting in, we've topped over the edge and we're getting some fuel back that we can't put into the tank. So that's all looking pretty good. One last thing I want to just quickly go over is the interface must be, as I say, it's a contract, you must implement it. So if I now put in another one, say int do stuff, in the right way, I have to implement int do stuff. I haven't, so let's save that and see if we can build this. I'm just going to actually remove the class files just to make absolutely sure. And let's try to go for a build. And I get an error. As you can see, car is not abstract and does not override abstract method do stuff in vehicle. It's whinging that we haven't implemented this, which is exactly what you should do. You shouldn't be able to implement classes that don't implement the methods, the interfaces properly, because you're going to rely on any class that implements your interface to actually have an implementation for everything that you're expecting to use. All right, thanks for watching.